For millions around the world, our way of working has been turned on its head over these past few years, in large part due to the pandemic. When we were once connecting with colleagues in the office space, now it's kind of a mixed bag. From day to day, you might be inside the office connecting face to face. Other days, you might be working from home or working remotely. But regardless, the need for all of us to sustain that desired culture, that culture of connection, of collaboration, of trust, of safety, of agility, that all remains. So how do we do that in our now hybrid way of working? Well, I've got some thoughts. Let's get into them. By the end of this video, you're going to be armed with not one, not two, but 3 actions you should be taking today to sustain your company's culture in today's hybrid working model. From what you should be accepting to what you should be aligning, and lastly, what you need to be taking today in order to create the future that you desire. Action number 1, accept that living your cultural values will likely look a little different today than it did 5 years ago. Though the core values of your company's culture may not have changed over these past several years, the way that you bring them to life may look very different. Connection and collaboration doesn't just look like 25 people physically sitting in a room together. Today, it looks like maybe 10 people physically sitting in a room, and then 15 people on screen spread out all around the world. So for example, being respectful of your colleagues doesn't just look like physically showing up to meetings on time, sitting in the room. It's about understanding the nuances of video conferencing and video conferencing etiquette. It's about when one person is speaking that you're actually either looking into the camera or it's visible that you're looking at the screen paying attention. I think in today's world, we can so easily multitask and kind of lose our focus when we're sitting in these meetings. So just as an example, be conscious of what that looks like in today's world versus when you were all physically in a meeting and everyone could see if you were off task. Believe it or not, people can still see when you're off task, especially if your camera's on. So strive to recognize what those nuances are and understand how you need to be showing up a little bit differently to bring your company's cultural values to life. Yo, you getting value from this? Make sure you subscribe, like, notification. I'm dropping videos, I'm dropping value to you every day. So make sure you subscribe so you get notified whenever a new video drops. All right, let's get back into it. Action number 2, align intent with impact. So now that you've accepted that showing your values could look a little bit differently today than it did maybe 5 or 10 years ago, work with your teammates, your colleagues, your direct reports, your managers to understand how that needs to look in today's world. Have the dialogue with those individuals, letting them know, our world has changed today, but I want to make sure that I'm still living our company's values. And I'd love to work with you to understand what are the actions I need to be taking, what are some things we can be doing to ensure that the impact that you feel is aligned with the intent that I have to live those values out loud. And you never know what type of ideas you might hear from your colleagues, from your team, maybe even from your management on about how they can feel that impact a little bit better. Because you might be sitting in a place today having the best intentions to live that purpose and those values out loud, but you're not having the impact that you intend. So keep the conversation open. And it's also going to invite maybe a little bit of vulnerability on your end, and your colleagues can see, wow, they're really trying to bring these values to life. And I want to work with them to understand how can I support them in bringing that to life such that they have the impact on me that they're really intending to have. Action number 3, take the best from yesterday and today to create your tomorrow. With great change comes great opportunity. I firmly believe that we are all sitting in this massive moment of opportunity to craft, to curate a workplace, a way of working that is in tune with the way business is working today, but that pulls the best of everything that we've experienced over these past several years, including the very difficult time during the pandemic. So think about what you've learned during that time, not only during the pandemic and working remotely, but also prior to the pandemic. What's the best of those worlds? I'm working with one client who has decided to really step into this more hybrid way of working. And they're hearing from their teams that in many situations, coming together physically to brainstorm, to collaborate, makes a lot of sense and is really conducive to moving the work forward. And so they've opted to create or maintain very small office spaces to allow individuals to still have that in-person connection. But it's up to the teams to leverage that space when they deem fit. And then other than that, most of them are still working remotely. So this is the opportunity, right? Create the type of workplace that's going to accelerate the mission of the business, accelerate results, while still nurturing the human beings that are working and contributing into that business. Increased levels of autonomy and really increased fulfillment. This is a really incredible opportunity for you to craft and sculpt the type of workplace that's going to be most conducive to achieving your business results. So before you go, as you're thinking about changes to the workplace and how you're working to curate and craft this workspace for the future, I've got something else for you completely for free. I actually want to gift you a free chapter of my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm: How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. Now, this chapter is all centered on this growth mindset of change enthusiasm that's going to empower you in any fear, anxiety, or frustration you might be experiencing as your workplace continues to change. Going to help you harness the power of that emotion to fuel your growth moving forward. And it's yours today for free. All you gotta do is click on the link in the show notes. I wanna make sure you have the tools, the research, the insights to accelerate your growth through even your most challenging changes. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.